How'd you find family offices?
It's really hard to find them. It's really hard to find them, and they don't want to be found, and they're also very private. A tip for funds in Germany, or actually everyone who wants to get German limited partners, the public register, Handelsregister in German, you can get the names of all the investors of any fund out of that register.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the How I Raised It podcast, the show where you get an inside look at how real entrepreneurs and VCs raise capital for their businesses. I'm your host, Nathan Beckert, and today's episode is with Gesa Miczaika of Auxxo Female Catalyst Fund, a VC fund that backs female-founded startups based in Europe. In this episode, we talk about the opportunities of investing in European women founders, how the firm evolved from angel investing into a proper fund, why raising fund number 2 was much harder than fund 1, tips for cracking into German family offices, and much more. If you're tuning into this podcast to learn how to raise capital for your business, be sure to check out Foundersuite.com if you're a startup or FundingStack.com if you're a VC or advisor. Both platforms will give you access to an awesome collection of tools for raising capital, including a massive investor database, a new Get Intro tool to get warm intros to investors, a CRM to manage your fundraise, a virtual data room to run due diligence, plus pitch deck hosting, investor updates, email tools, and more. Last but not least, if you enjoy this conversation and think someone else would too, please share it with them and hit that subscribe button to get all our latest episodes. Thank you. Now sit back and enjoy this chat with Gesa.
Welcome to How I Raised It, the podcast that goes behind the scenes with entrepreneurs who've raised capital. We uncover the tips, tricks, and techniques they use to get investors to write a check. Strap in and turn it up.
Hi, welcome to another episode of How I Raised It, produced by Foundersuite.com for startups and FundingStack.com for VCs. Today I have Gesa Miczaika of Auxxo coming to us from Berlin. How was your day?
Very good. Thank you for having me, Nathan.
Are you from Berlin? Did you migrate there, or where are you from?
No, actually, I was born and raised in South America. Then I moved to Southeast Asia, and I've been in Germany since university. But my parents and all my ancestors are German, so
Interesting.
I am German, but I didn't grow up here.
The name Miczaika, which I won't even try and spell, is that more Polish?
It's Polish, but it's my ex-husband's last name and my kid's last name. That's why I kept it.
Got it. Makes sense. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very good. Great to have you. Let's just start off. What is Auxxo?
Well, Auxxo is a venture capital fund that co-invests in teams with at least one female founder across Europe in the super early stages. And basically, what we want to do is we want to change the face of the economy and make it more diverse.
Yeah. So I was looking at the website. So you pre-seed and seed. Maybe give the kind of boilerplate overview, right, of what you invest in and stage, industry, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pre-seed and seed. We're industry agnostic, although I must say we do prefer B2B topics, and we love everything that is good for the world, for society, for the environment. But we will also do anything else. So we always need a lead investor on board, and we take 3 to 8% ownership. So usually, the ticket sizes may range somewhere between 200,000 euros and 1 million euros, and we can only invest in Europe.
Got it.
And this is our second fund. So actually, we set up our first fund in 2021, invested in 30 companies with that one, had an angel fund before that, and now the second proper venture capital fund, have 4 investments so far.
Yeah. We'll get into the whole evolution. I think that'll be interesting. But so just to recap that, 250K to $1 million checks, looking for, I think you said 3 to 8% ownership, right? Did I get those numbers right?
Exactly.
And then the co-investment approach, that's always interesting. So why don't you like to lead? Is it just the check sizes or something else?
No, not at all. Actually, it's the impact part of things. So our whole vision and mission and our belief is that we have to combine alpha and impact. And how do we combine alpha and impact? And in our case, I mean, we want to bring more women to to become, the CEOs of big publicly listed companies.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do is we have to bridge the gap. And the venture capital scene here in Europe is very similar to the US. It's just very male dominated. So if you look at, we have around 20% female founders in Europe. They get less than 5% of the funding. So what we're doing is, and that's why we need to stay small and lean, is just bring these amazing female founders to the male VCs and convince them to invest, and jointly we can make them successful.
Yeah, interesting. Let's go into the backstory. So why did you guys start this? I think that's kind of what you're touching on right there already. Not enough
Yeah.
capital going to female founders, but what's maybe the genesis story? Tell us.
It's a very long Genesis story. I think it starts with where I was raised and my background in South America, not seeing any role models, and it started all there. But I guess the turning point was 2019 when I had cancer, and the doctors told me, like, if you would have noticed this a month later, you could be dead. And that to me was like a big wake up call. So I started doing a lot of inner work, a lot of, meditation, and you name it, I did it, whatever is out there. And I just realized, like, I had been an operator, I had been a consultant, strategy consultant. I just realized, and I had started angel investing. I just realized it's just not enough for me. I wanted big things in this world, and I want to create real positive impact, and I want my children to grow up in a world that is better than our world today. And then it kind of like all came together because I was angel investing with two lovely women. We didn't have the gender focus, but 70% of our investments out of this angel fund were in teams with at least one female founder. Plus, the VCs were really happy because they were saying, like, finally we're getting high quality deal flow from diverse founders. And the founders were really happy because they said, oh, no, usually we got, actually some were declined already by the VCs, and then we kind of brought it back onto their table and convinced them to have another chat. And that worked out really nicely. And so I just knew from the beginning, and I've been doing this for a long time in other areas. Like, I do I did a lot of political work. I don't do it anymore, but I try to advocate a lot for diversity because I truly believe, and this is, I mean, gut feeling I have, that balance and power structures will be beneficial for us all. So reaching balance is basically why we created this fund.
Yeah, interesting. Um, this is a very open, broad question, but what's the state of, female founder startup world in Europe? I mean, you
Yeah.
mentioned 20% of founders, they only get 5% of the fundraising. Like, are you seeing a lot of really great founders, and are they coming out of uh, pre-existing startups, or are they coming out of university? Like, what are some general patterns, trends? What are you seeing in the female founder world in Europe, basically? Yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, this 20% is an interesting fact that it hasn't changed a lot since the past year. So there's not like a big progression of back in the day when I started angel investing in 2018, I think it was at 15% in Germany. I mean, it's not it didn't like increase a lot. So that's the first statistic. The other thing is we don't see a lot of repeat founders because there weren't any female founders. So in the first place, what we usually see is female founders that come from some kind of university background, who have had touch with some entrepreneurial people in their group of friends, and that's how they came into this space. That's the usual way it goes.
Are,
But we see everything. At the end of the day, we also have founders in our portfolio that went through accelerators like Entrepreneur First or Antler. It's very diverse.
yeah. Are you finding, and this is again kind of generalization, but are you finding that a lot of the female founders are building products for women, or are they building, financial payments? I mean, is it a diverse in what they're building?
Yeah, 100%. So, for the interested person, have a look at our website because we actually have almost no investments that target women
Mm,
as the consumers. It's usually B2B stuff. We do have some select B2C things like menopausal supplements. But what we do see is that female founders, and I was the deputy president of the German Startup Association. We did the female founders monitor here, so I know this is a
mm.
statistic as well. They tend to found companies in also areas which are beneficial for society and for the environment, and so that is a fact, and that's also the space that we like investing into anyway. So it's kind of like going into the same direction.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's interesting. Female founders tend to build companies that are good for the world. That's great. Any
They're
other
more
just
impact driven. They're a lot
impact
more
driven?
impact driven. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I would say if you look at alpha and impact, I would say and this is a complete generalization. Yeah. So typically the male founder is more alpha driven, whilst the female founder would be more impact driven.
Mm.
But we also see, of course, female founders that are just alpha and that have no impact, aspect at all in their business model, and that's also great. We're also happy to invest into that.
Yeah. Just to cross plug our podcast, I yesterday released our episode where I interviewed the founder of Stapelstein, a guy, a male, but German-based startup making like really eco-friendly, positive playthings for kids. So if you're interested in that, check out Stapelstein. Kind of interesting though, right? It was really a mission-driven startup, and like he got rid of his first angel investors because they weren't they wanted more profit. He wanted to change the world. Kind of interesting mindset. So anyway, little
Yeah.
tangent. Very cool. And then, yeah, how many companies total? What's the portfolio looking like?
Well, I think 47 in total with the counting the or 48 counting the angel portfolio. Yeah.
Where are you seeing female founders cluster? Are there centers in Europe that are like I don't know how to ask this, but more female founder
Yeah.
friendly than others, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually statistics, and we're super focused. So you just mentioned that one founder. I will not have a look definitely because he doesn't have a female co-founder. So I
Yeah,
only look
right.
at female founders, right? And or companies that have at least one female founder, and and then we looked at the rankings in which cities are there the most female founders, and actually Berlin ranked really high, Munich ranked really high, London, Paris, Stockholm. Those were like the main places, and that's where we decided to mainly look into. But we get deal flow from everywhere.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a sec. Getting deal flow. I noticed on the website you've got an application form. Does that lead to good deals, or are you more the traditional VC that, people are getting intros, or, how are you getting deal flow? You
You
also,
know,
sorry, you also
a,
mentioned like Antler and Entrepreneur First, so I assume those
yeah.
might be feeders too.
Yeah, we get deal from all sorts of places. I think what is really cool now are all these AI companies that help you with deal flow. And the good thing about that is like we get to see, and there's one German tool, for example, called Morpheus. They help VCs find deals really early. And since our criteria is so stupid is the wrong word, but it's so plain, like one female founder, we can cut through those lists really fast and we get to the point like faster than anyone else. That's the one thing. And the second thing is there's just not that many female focused funds in Europe, and we're like the only ones in Germany doing this. So our brand is like really, really strong, and we get all the deal flow, not only from the founders themselves, but it's typical also that, funds get asked by founders, oh, who should I be speaking to as well? And since it's a female founder, the fund will always mention Auxxo. So it's actually a great competitive advantage that we have there.
Yeah. I think that's great. And I try and tell founders this and also venture funds that we've had. It's like just be known for one simple thing, right? Like yours is so
Yeah.
easy. You're
Ours is so easy. It's so
at
easy,
least
and we
one
get
female
asked.
founder. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really it's a stupid criteria, but I think it caters to so many needs also, like and everyone knows also, especially in Germany, catering to female founders. So
Yeah. Do you ever get startups apply that maybe have how do I put it, a placeholder female founder, but it's really not,
yeah.
female co-founders? Yeah.
I was actually thinking about something, and because we want to create, of course, the alpha and invest into the best companies in Europe. On the other hand, I was also thinking about creating a matchmaking platform because we know so many exited
Mm.
great male founders also, and we get asked a lot, do you know of any female co-founders that we can get into our next companies? And I thought that was really a cool idea. We might do that next year.
Yeah, cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm a solo founder. I'm a male, but in our early years, I actually had at one point an engineering team that was like 60% female, 40% male. It's sort of changed over
That's
time, but
unique.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was really rare, and it just sort of happened
Yeah.
by circumstance.
What
But
what what did you think? You've worked with several different teams probably. So what did you think the quality of work? How was that different with the 60% female and the typical team
it
composition?
was really good. It was a good quality. We were moving fast. I feel like okay, maybe I'm stereotyping a little bit, but I feel like there was a little bit more aesthetic and design focus. Maybe females care more about how things look than guys do. I don't know. I'm generalizing a little bit here, but it was good. It was a positive experience. It just over time changed as, we hired more people and it became less female. But anyway, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good. It was a
Yeah.
good process. Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, we struggle to find male or men to work with us.
yeah.
So when we hire, and we don't hire a lot, we're a super small team, so we're four people plus one intern. But when we hire and when we put those job descriptions out there, we never get
Hmm.
men to apply. It's
Ah,
really hard because we would love to have some men in the team.
yeah. I don't know. I like working with women. My previous company was called Venture Archetypes, and it was me and two female partners, and we were helping startups raise capital. So again, kind of a unusual, but it worked well. Very cool. Let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about raising capital for Auxxo. So you started by doing angel investing, and then kind of tell the genesis getting into Fund One and raising capital for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, happy to. So, 2018, my partner Tina and I were introduced, and we, the first time we talked, like we thought about venture capital, and we said, how sad it is that we don't see any venture capital funds that cater to our needs. So basically, they don't like the deals that we like, and also the working culture is very different to something that we would need, especially being mothers. It was
Mm.
just we just noticed that the German VC landscape didn't have a home for us. So this conversation led to us wanting to set up a venture capital fund, and we joined forces with a third partner, Fabiola, and started angel investing. And this was like our due diligence with each other to see, is this something that we really want to do? So each of us put some money in the middle, and we started investing. So that was the first, people in Germany call it fund. If it's an angel fund, I will call it fund as well. So that was the angel fund. Then the first proper venture capital fund we set up in 2021. And that was really easy. I mean, 2021, people had a lot of money. Plus, we had been working with many angels, many very successful entrepreneurs in the angel with the angel vehicle, and people really liked us. So we got that capital together super fast. The first tickets we got in was from GPs of like big funds in Germany. And then like really big names of cool women that were known in the who had founded companies or were in private equity or something like that. So that was easy. That was like half a year of fundraising.
Wow. And how much was that fund?
That was 19 million
Okay.
euros. Yeah, so it was small. I mean, still a small fund, but for us it was the exact right size to test what we wanted to test. We wanted to see, will we get into these deals? Plus, is the ownership that we want also the right one? So that was like our testing ground. The second fund, we started raising that over 2 years ago, actually, and it took us so long to raise that fund because we came into like crisis mode, and then the ripple effects of Trump, etc., made diversity just be like the uncool kid on the playground that gets stuck into the garbage can, and
Yeah.
and so fundraising got really, really tough with that. But we just continued, and actually it also gave us a little bit like a little bit of a message also that if the world is looking away, we need to look more, and we need to focus more. We need to do this, even like work harder, get this through the door. So after a lot of fundraising, a lot of no's, a lot of no's, and almost giving up on the way, we finally made it to our first closing in summer this year.
And what's the total size of that fund and first closing, if you're allowed to?
Well, the first closing is 26 million. Yeah, and yeah, we're looking to increase that a bit, but we can actually also work with a 26 million because it's we have worked with 19 million, so we actually know that that's a doable fund size. But we're still looking. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Makes sense. What let's go back a little bit to fund one. So you mentioned, that your LPs were GPs at established venture funds, and I guess you probably had some relationships with them already because you were doing angel deals and probably making some intros. Was it all people you knew, or did you build a pipeline and kind of go after them?
No, we built a pipeline. Yeah, so in Germany, you have to know that the minimum ticket size, that this is the regulatory authority, has the must that the regulatory authority in Germany makes it necessity that you can only bring in LPs that put tickets of at least 200,000 euros in. So it's like a huge threshold. Not everyone can invest into a venture capital fund. You need a lot of money to be able to do that. And my family doesn't come from money. So I grew up, I was privileged because I grew up in South America and Southeast Asia, but I was the first person in my family, or actually my sister was the first person to actually finish secondary school and go to university. And I was the second person to do that. So we didn't have like this, let's say, environment where we could fundraise with tickets of 200,000. But everyone we met and everyone who invested, we asked for 5 other names, and then we called those 5 other people, and gradually the fund got together. So yeah, it was a lot of work, and we did. I would say half of the people we didn't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, half they didn't know. How many total pitches, if you remember, like even roughly? This is always kind of
Hundreds.
interesting.
Actually, no, the first fund was okay. The first fund, I would say like 150 pitches, something like that.
And were like the GPs at big funds, were they investing from that fund or their own pocketbook?
Well, some own pocketbook, others from the fund.
Okay, yeah. And then the other side of that you mentioned like cool women, cool women
Yes.
in private equity and probably some ex-founders. How did you
Yeah.
how'd you find them? How'd you get in touch with them? Like on this show we get into like nitty-gritty of like how did you raise that fund, right? Um,
Well, the first person who gave us a yes is currently the president of the German Startup Association, Verena Pauster. She's a great woman. I love her. And I had known her, so I had had several touch points with her before, and she knew me, and she knew Tina, and we were kind of already in contact. And she all opened up her address book for us, so that was like the first pointer. And after that, we just went into all the communities that are out there. So we try to be on all the conferences and to stand on any panel and just get in front of as many people as possible. And it was a lot of legwork. But the first fund was mostly just asking people to open their address books. By the way, it was Corona times, so we actually did all of the fundraising from our living room with our kids next to us in calls, and that
sure,
was
yeah. Funny.
successful despite the
Right,
circumstances.
interruptions. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. And then, okay, so that was fairly easy. 6 months, that is a fast timeline. So let's contrast that with Fund Two. Did you change your LP base in Fund Two? How
Yeah,
much?
100%. We
Okay.
have the European Investment Fund as an anchor investor in our second fund. And so first institutional money, then because before we had like just, I would say typically the profile was successful founders or successful VCs. And we started getting in more family offices and yeah, but that's it. Actually, it's the EIF and some family offices. Other than that, it's the same profile.
What is the EIF? Is that a fund of
The
that or is
European
that a
Investment
government?
Fund, yeah, it's the state capital of the European Union basically, and they get they do. I think they have over 180 fund investments in Europe, and the due diligence process with them takes a long time. So they're super thorough. They're in many of the big the most successful funds here. Like I know they are invested in HV Capital and Project A, and many names in Germany, but it is hard to get in. So you do have to show track record. They do have to have conviction. They speak with most of your co-investors. They speak with most of your founders. They do a very thorough due diligence.
How did you get in with them? And really kind of the question I'm asking is
Yeah.
if you were a newer fund manager in Europe and you wanted to raise some capital from the EIF, what's your other advice? Long due diligence, we got that. They're going to check
Yeah.
everything. But what other advice would you give for getting in touch with them and running that process?
Well, getting in touch is actually, they're not, you don't need to have a relationship or something. We did have a relationship. So our genesis is that we came in our angel portfolio. We already approached them because they had a little, I would say, a small fund that would double the money that you would put in as an angel into a startup. And it was like an angel vehicle that they had. And we were talking to them about that angel vehicle, but we decided not to pursue that opportunity because it had lots of implications of, it was, you would have to give the startup side letters and so on. And we just wanted to be, we wanted to work more
Yeah.
flexibly. So we had that relationship, for a long time, and we were touching base with the person Daniel, who was responsible, at least like once every half a year, telling him where we stand and so on. So that was an easy way in. But I know that you can just apply, and it's the same process. So just go to their website, have a look, apply, and I would say have all your documents in order before you do that. So they are super diligent. They will have a look at everything. They also look at the psychological part of things. So they do interview, for example, the general partners separately, so that they have a look and feel, are you on the same page?
Oh.
They interview the team to see how the team sees you as GPs, and if they also they really do a thorough due
Yeah.
diligence. So I think at the end of the day, just go there if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, don't.
What do you think led them to say yes? Was it more your mission or more your track record, with your previous investments?
I think it was a track record. I think it was like that we showed that we were diligent with our work, and that we were trustworthy, and that we just do a good job,
Yeah.
a thorough good job.
And then family offices was the other part. So are these mostly European family
Yeah,
offices? And then the
it's only
German,
Germans.
yeah,
Yeah, only German family. Actually, we have almost only German LPs, because also one thing that in Germany we cannot market outside of Germany either. If you are a German fund and you have the German license, then you cannot market somewhere else. So that also, we had to stay in Germany.
how'd you find family offices, and what was it like pitching them? Because I'm assuming a lot of
It's
these are probably
this.
like Mittelstand founder, family offices, right? Who probably made money in industrial stuff. I'm totally
Yeah, yeah,
guessing here, but
exactly,
yeah,
exactly, and it's really hard to find them. It's really hard to find them, and they don't want to be found, and they're also very private. So it's not like if people ask me, "Oh, can you introduce me to someone?" I can't, because I first have to check with the family office. Is this something that you would be willing to invest into? You always have to do a double opt-in for these types of LPs. So I guess the main thing is just network, network, network. Get out there, talk to people, ask. One thing is also a tip for funds in Germany, or actually everyone who wants to get German limited partners, the public register, Handelsregister in German. You can get the names of all the investors of any fund out of that
oh,
register.
yeah,
So,
interesting.
so you can see who invested. I mean, if you find they won't give you the contact details, but they will give you the names. And then what we did was also like get these lists, and ask people, oh, do you know this person, or can you introduce me to this person? And sometimes the names are really cryptic, so you don't know who stands behind those names. But it's a lot about networking. It's a lot about asking around, and and doing the same for others. It's not only take. You have to give. You have to give a lot as well. And for us, it's we're super hyper collaborative, and we try to be that also with other emerging funds, especially also with funds with female GPs. We try to support them. So if anyone, for example, starts a process with the EF, for example, then they typically would call us and would ask us like, okay, what's the process, and what would you recommend, etc. We always take a piece of our time to do that, because we believe that it's highly important to do so.
Say it one more time, the name of the public registrar.
Handelsregister.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. Got it. Okay. I took some German in college. It's sort of in the back
Yeah.
of my brain right now, but yeah, got it. Other tips for,
It's actually in the UK. You can do the same.
okay, yeah,
I
interesting.
have I have friends with UK funds, and you can do exactly the same there. I mean, it won't give you the intro,
Yeah.
but it will be you will be able to know who is invested in which fund.
Yeah, that's interesting. Any tips for pitching family offices? Because they are very private. They're often, like as we
Yeah.
were talking about, they're often made their money in, industrials. So like investing in
Mhm.
tech
Mhm.
startups, it might not always be or even a venture fund that invests in tech startups might be slightly off target sometimes.
Yeah, so I would say the big difference, in my opinion, between the individuals that we, mostly high net worth individuals that we have in our LP base and family offices, is that family offices dig deeper. So they do look at the track record line by line. They do interview more diligently as well, and they want to have proper in-depth presentations. So um, it's it's I would say the work that you do for institutional investors is also putting the stuff that you have anyway onto paper and describing it a lot more than you would with a typical high net worth individual whom you could just tell, like, oh, this is our sourcing strategy. But with a family office, you really have to like write it down and explain, and maybe also categorize the sources, categorize the geographies, categorize like everything. So yeah, German Mittelstand and German family offices. I think the main thing is to know is that you just have to be very diligent.
Yeah, yeah, detail oriented, diligent. And kind of the same question, like, do you think how many family offices did you end up corralling, pulling together?
Less than five.
Okay.
So
And were
yeah,
they
also not a
also
lot.
driven by mostly returns like the EAF, or did they like your mission a lot? You know,
No, I would say half half,
yeah.
half half. And and that's what where we noticed actually something that probably our limited partners that are out there that would be more interesting, and we haven't tapped into that yet, but is more of the typical impact investors.
Mm,
Because we always saw ourselves as the typical venture capital fund, which just has a very specific angle. But I think through our thesis and just having this amazing impact that we do. I mean, we have really paved the way for other funds. For example, we did a lot of policy shaping with the German government. I mean, I was talking hours and hours with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Economics, trying to convince them to set up a facility to invest into emerging fund managers. So there's the state fund of fund called KfW Capital, and convincing them to get the KfW Capital to invest into diverse GP teams. And yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to be, in my opinion, that to me is why those LPs, the impact driven LPs, they like us, because we don't only do the investments into our founders, but we invest into the future basically with all different. So we also founded a group of angel investors, which is called the Evangelistas, and the Evangelistas are now 450 or more female business angels in Europe. So it's like a big group, and we gave that to our successor in that is called Julia, and Julia she has taken it all to a completely next level and is doing conferences for wealthy women on topics of what kind of investments can you do, etc., etc. So it's like it's become really big.
I'm gonna segue into like for founders, advice for founders, but what was that angel group called again? Evangelist?
The Evangelistas. The Evangelistas.
Okay, gotcha. Got it. Yeah, interesting. Very cool. Super interesting. Ooh, actually, last question on raising that fund. You mentioned it took basically 2 years. How many pitches do you think you gave for fund two? Because it was harder, right?
1,000?
Wow.
I'm guessing no, not 1,000, but it's several hundreds. Yes, definitely several hundreds.
were all three of you guys dividing and conquering, or
It's
were
actually just two of us who have
okay?
who set up the female catalyst funds. The third our third partner, she had 4 children within 6 years and decided not to set up the fund with us. Bless her. But so the two of us, yeah. Actually, that was the biggest learning for me. We divided and conquered. We That was our strategy: divide and conquer. And I don't think that was the right strategy for us. I think if I would repeat, I would say definitely not like that. Definitely do 50-50 and share that, because we were it led to us being detached often, and also feeling very lonely in what we were doing, and not having that much fun as you could. And I think that's also something that when you fundraise, the people also feel your energy. And it was just so tedious doing this alone. So I guess probably, I mean, probably the energy was also not at the highest point. Like if I would fundraise now, I think it would be completely different, because we're doing deals together again, and we're doing all the operational work together, etc. So it's like it feels much more aligned to how
So if
I
you
like
would
to
do it
work.
all over, would you just have one person focus on raising the fund and the
No,
other?
absolutely not. Like quite the contrary, the opposite.
Okay.
We would share that.
So not divide and conquer, but really just do it all collab
Yes,
together. I
absolutely
see.
collaborative, and make a project, like a real project out of it. For us, it was like just one touch point of, oh, how's it going in fundraising, and giving a status update, but like really prioritizing it as a project, as you would a typical project.
Yeah, interesting. Any other tips you would give yourself if you're doing it all over again? I think that's always interesting. Kind of like, what would you do differently?
Yeah, a lot actually. So the angel fund is super successful, super successful. So we have it's the 2019 vintage. Sorry, I said the dates wrong before. So the first fund is 2021, and the angel fund was 2019. But just the 2019 vehicle is great. So we're like, I would assume in the top 1% of that vintage with that fund. So it's like really good. Um, and the first venture capital fund, the 2021 vintage, it's a bad vintage anyway, but we're like I would say average in that vintage. And if I would start all over again, I think what we did wrong was we wanted to bring our flavor into the venture capital world by investing the way that we think. But when we started investing, we were so caught up with, we need to cater to the needs of the venture capital funds and to the venture capital world. So we were trying to think the way that venture capitalists think, which made us invest differently than we were investing as angels. And now, after having invested out of that first venture capital fund, we noticed that actually our secret sauce is investing the way that we like investing, and not look at what the VCs like doing. So completely kind of like, before we were doing a lot of due diligences together with VCs, and we're turning it back right now, the wheel back, and going back to doing the things ourselves and really having like our own opinion, and not having it tainted by anything, and not thinking about like, would other VCs like this or not. Maybe think about it, because you do need a follow-on round for your investments, but not prioritize it as much as we did before. So that to me is the biggest learning, is like, stay true to yourself. Because if you act in integrity, if you act with your own truth, and self-determination, that's, I think, where the magic happens.
Interesting. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Okay, very good. I guess last question or so, but tips for female founders, tips for European female founders. Like, what advice
Yeah.
do you give them? I'm sure that you get asked for advice all the time. Do you find yourself like This is
All
my
the
favorite.
time.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah, so there's actually a statistic from, I think this was from LinkedIn, and they found out that most jobs get, you land most jobs through networking. So it's typically like your network who will bring you the best jobs. And then I think McKinsey did a study that figured out that women network less than men.
Mm.
And to me, that was like, it's the same in venture capital. Like you get the best deals, that you get the best investors, you get everything if you do focus on networking. And I also think it's important to build and to have your head down and to build very well. But I think female founders, in comparison to male founders, don't network enough. And you need network, and you need a really strong network, because I would say that will be the basis for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice. Do you find female founders are as aggressive and big vision thinking as males? Like, is there any like differences there or
Yeah, it's so funny that you asked this question, because there's also studies that show that women typically get asked risk questions while men get asked potential
I've
questions.
heard this. Yes, I've heard
And
this.
actually,
Yeah.
also through women. So also women ask women risk questions, and women ask men potential questions. So it's so strange. And I would say if our society weren't that way, then no, I don't think that men are more like looking at potential bigger and faster than women. But since our social structure is that way, I think often it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm, right.
So I'm actually trying to address all investors to stop doing that and to start encouraging more of the visionary questions, and looking for that in female founders.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. All right. Any other, we've covered a ton of stuff, but any other advice for either emerging managers or advice for founders that we haven't covered that you'd like to
Yeah, for
share?
emerging fund managers, I think also it's the same thing. I like get some peers around you. Get a great group. We had such a helpful group of people around us that you could just shoot questions at, where you could just say, "Oh, come look at my LPA. I'll show you mine." And then we can discuss, or what are your fundraising tips and so on. So like really gather people around you that you can work
Yeah,
together with to make this happen. Yeah,
that's
that's my
great.
main tip.
I like it. If people want to learn more, it's auxxo.de, and that's auxxo.de. What is Auxxo? Is that a German word?
Oh, I love that. Actually, Auxxo is one of the three daughters of Zeus in
Oh,
Greek mythology, and and it's great because also we added a second X for obvious reasons, for a female angle, but also or actually the three daughters of Zeus are called the Horas, and the Horas were responsible for bringing balance into nature. And for us that was like the perfect name. Like we also thought we are going to bring balance into the venture capital world, because we're going to start investing how we want to invest, and going to show that it's a different way of investing is also a great way.
Good. I'm glad I asked what the name means.
Yeah,
That's a
me
good story.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. Thank you.
Very good. If anything you want to plug, or if people want to learn more, just point them to the website
Yeah,
or
just go to the website. We also have a forum for startups if you want to apply. We get so many pitches, so we actually only answer, and we write this in the forum. We only answer when something actually does fit with us. Otherwise, probably we won't be able to answer. We get 1,500 to 2,000 pitches a year, so it's like, and we're a small team, so we try to process it. But yeah, that's
be
it.
honest, who reviews those? Is it an intern? Is it an AI bot, or is it you guys that looks at those?
No, it's actually an intern usually.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we
fair,
show the interns how to look at it. Yeah.
fair enough. Fair
AI
enough.
bot, we've tried that, but I'm too scared that, because we do look differently than most people. I'm too afraid that things will fall through the cracks that we might like.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you very much. This is super
Thank you,
interesting.
Nathan.
Yeah, congrats,
Yeah,
and keep
yeah,
doing what you're doing, and we'll catch you
we
after Fund
will.
3. We'll see what's going on.
Yes, really looking forward to that. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.